My beloved child, I see within you the fears you yourself have tried to avoid. Yet those very fears are the doors through which I will lead you to restoration. The edge where you now stand is not meant for your fall, but for the opening of a new chapter, if only you dare to face the truth within your heart. For when you confront what you most wish to escape, I will use that very moment to rewrite the destiny that doubt once tried to blur. Once, the prophet Elisha stood before his servant when the city was surrounded by enemies. The servant trembled, believing there was no way out. But Elisha prayed, "Lord, open his eyes so that he may see." And when the servant's eyes were opened, he beheld the mountain full of horses and chariots of fire surrounding them. 2 Kings 6. The enemy did not change, nor did the path widen, but God opened the servant's eyes to face the truth that what he feared never truly had power over him. This is what God is doing with you as well. He does not always change the circumstance first. Instead, He opens your eyes so that you may see the new chapter awaiting your step forward. There are moments when you feel one step away from falling, yet in truth you are standing before the threshold I have built to open into new blessing. It is not I who close the doors of opportunity. It is impatience that makes you turn away before you can see what I have prepared. My calling does not always thunder. It comes in the smallest stirring, yet it carries the weight to transform your life. Know this, never have I withheld your progress. It is your own fear that locks the doors before you. There are seasons when you believe your tears have run dry and I am silent. But my silence is not abandonment. It is the time I have set apart for your heart to grow soft enough, wide enough, and deep enough to enter the new chapter. You do not realize how much healing I have already done within you, because your eyes remain fixed on what you consider failure. What is broken is not the end, it is the ground from which I build what is new, enduring, and aligned with the destiny I wrote for you. The world does not need a great storm to shake you. Just a whisper of words can slip into your mind and make you forget your worth in my eyes. People want you to react, so your soul becomes restless. But I want you to be still, so you may see truth clearly. Slander gains power only when you believe it more than you believe me. Do not forget, faith has levels, and I am leading you to a place where every arrow of human word can no longer reach you. For I stand before every attack against your heart. At times, you walk forward, trembling like a leaf before an unfamiliar wind, feeling your fragility more than ever. I know your fear not because you are weak, but because you have grown so accustomed to the old that even a small step forward feels like leaving your last refuge of safety. Yet, many opportunities I placed before you have closed not because I withdrew my blessing, but because you turned back too soon when anxiety grew too loud. I have seen you stand so close to what I promised, only to turn away for lack of one steady breath. And you did not know that just one more moment of faith would have opened the door to what you have long prayed for. I do not blame you, but I want you to understand not every waiting is in vain. Often, I am waiting for your heart to be calm enough to receive what is already yours. And there are moments when you cry out, "Lord, why do I only hear silence?" Yet, my child, you do not realize that my silence is the gentlest invitation. For I know if I spoke too loudly, you would run. If I pushed too hard, you would feel unworthy. Many times, I speak through the faintest sense, a brief intuition, a quiet nudge in your spirit. But you have grown used to seeking thunder instead of whispers. You ask me for grand doors to open, while I send you subtle signs, because I desire your heart to recognize me even in the simplest things. My child, your faith matures when you discern my voice in smallness. When you listen with humility, you will understand I was never far. You simply needed to learn how to see me in every gentle step. When facing the future, you often think I test you with great barriers, but the only wall you must cross is the fear within. I do not build locked gates to watch you struggle. I leave the paths open, yet you bind your own feet with what you refuse to face. You fear failure, criticism, inadequacy, weakness. But my child, these have never been my measures when I chose you. I chose you because I saw what sleeps within you, what even you do not yet believe is real. And if you dare to walk through fear, you will find it thinner than it appears, while the strength I give you endures far beyond. You need only take the step opening the way as mine to do. Yet I know your heart grows weary easily, faltering when you think you must carry everything alone. You look at others and think they are stronger, steadier, more deserving, and so you retreat instead of advancing. But I want you to know this haste makes blessings feel distant, while steadfastness draws them near. I do not condemn your weakness. I only grieve the moments you let go too soon, when victory was already near. I see you learning to stand between hope and fear. And in that balance I am shaping you into one who understands the true worth of faith. So do not leave. Do not withdraw. Just hold my hand and walk slowly. And when you learn to see fear through the eyes of peace, you will realize I never call you into anything without walking beside you. Every step you take, I have already gone before. Every worry you hold, I have prepared a way through. Every dead end you face, I have hidden an opening. Therefore, you need not run fast, only refuse to give up. Know that hope is not merely the light at the end of the road, it is the strength I placed within you from the beginning. As you move toward that light, the words I speak in what follows will help you understand why I have been patient through the seasons you thought you were lost in darkness. There are long nights when you sit in silence, believing I have left you alone, as if your prayers fell into endless void. Your heart has grown so used to darkness that when my light touches it, you fear it will expose what you wish to hide. You think I am distant because your eyes cannot see me, but my child. Darkness is not proof of my absence. It is the space where you need me most. I see the tears you think no one knows, and I still lay my hand upon your soul even when you do not feel it. At times, I let stillness cover you, not to cause pain, but to quiet the noise inside so you may hear my whisper. Yet because sorrow feels familiar, you mistake my silence for indifference. When it is in that very silence, I am holding you closer than in days of joy. Your heart has dwelt in darkness so long that weariness feels normal and despair seems natural. You see life through eyes tinted by pain, and every blessing I send appears dim. You do not realize I have healed you in countless small ways. I have lifted you from thoughts that harm you, placed fleeting moments of peace within you, and shielded you from many unseen evils. But because your gaze remains fixed on the wound, you fail to see my hands stitching your soul together. That narrow vision convinces you that you are a failure, while I see within you a resilience refined through fire. My child, darkness is not the place I destined you to stay. It is the passage through which you learn what true light is. You often ask me, why don't you act now? But you do not understand there are things I cannot rush, because your heart needs time to learn, to strengthen, to soften, to be ready. I see you clinging to yourself with all that remains, and I love you for it. But I also know that if I opened the way too soon, you would chase what is not meant for you. If I gave the answer immediately, your faith would never grow. I do not stay silent to punish you. I stay silent to redirect you. So your steps are no longer driven by emotion, but by the wisdom I grant. Believe this, my silence is not a closed door, it is my voice saying, be still. I am working in what you cannot yet see. And when everything in you seems shattered, you think only ashes remain. But, my child, what I allow to crumble is not loss, it is soil for new creation. You see collapse, I see preparation. You see an ending. I see a beginning. Never have I let destruction come without planting a promise within it. I know you mourn what is past. But if you look deeper, you will see my hands clearing the stones to make space for a new horizon. And in that very breaking, you will learn to see the beauty of what I am patiently rebuilding. So come closer to me, not with lengthy prayers, but with an open heart. I want you to sit in my presence and let me speak to what you have not yet dared to face. You do not need to free yourself from darkness. Let me be the light that leads you. Step by step, every time you offer me your sorrow, I will place peace within you. Every time you give me your wound, I will place a promise there. And with every step you take toward me, you will see that darkness never had power over you. It only served as the canvas upon which my light could shine brighter. When you understand this, you will step into the next chapter. I am opening the place where you learn to discern my voice amid the world's noise, and where your soul regains the stability it has long lost. There are days when you listen to the world so much that my voice becomes faint within your mind. Human words blow like constant winds, pushing you toward doubt, anxiety, and self-blame. You begin to believe what they say about you more than what I declared from the beginning. I see your confusion not from lack of faith, but because you have opened your heart to voices that do not nourish your spirit. People sow chaos with a single word, and you mistake it for truth about yourself. My child, what makes you fall is not the arrow of the enemy, but the words you allow to pierce your soul. Many times you ask yourself why your soul can be wounded so easily. Yet you have not seen that what hurts you is not their words, but the way you interpret them. You forget that I have called you by name, that you belong to me, and that your worth has been sealed by my everlasting love. And yet, when the world says something contrary to what I have spoken, you begin to doubt yourself. You hear their judgment, and you condemn yourself. You hear their contempt, and you shrink back. You hear their suspicion, and you shut the very doors of opportunity that I have opened. I want you to understand that the world's voice only has power when you allow it to become the voice within your heart. When you believe their words more than you believe me, that is the moment you hand them an authority they never deserve to hold. So many voices out there are not meant to build you up, but to distract you from what I am doing in your life. People want you to react hastily so your heart will be thrown into turmoil. But I want you to be still so you can see the truth clearly. I want you to learn to discern my voice. It is the voice that carries peace, clarity, and direction. The voice of the world, however, often carries anxiety, rivalry, and fear, pulling you away from the place I have set for you. You do not fail because they speak wrongly. You fail when you believe wrongly. And my child, every time you trust slander more than you trust my promises, you lose a measure of the strength I have given you to stand firm in the face of trials. But I do not condemn you for those moments when your heart grows weak. I understand how easily your heart is shaken when it has been weary for too long. When you are searching for affirmation you have not yet received from me. I see you striving to find your worth in the eyes of the world, when all you truly need is to look into my eyes and know how precious you are. You wrestle among conflicting opinions while I still wait for you to return, so I can remind you of what I affirmed before time began. You are mine, and no accusation from this world can change that. You only need to place your heart back into my hands, and I will restore the peace you lost when you ran after the world's voice. Therefore, come back near to me through a stillness the world can never give you. Let me speak softly, and you will recognize my voice again amid countless noises. When you place my word in the highest place within your heart, every other word will lose its power to wound you. Stand in the place where I have positioned you, where the arrows of the world cannot reach. Your faith will no longer be fragile when you know that I am raising you to a level the world's voice cannot touch. And when you learn this lesson, you will be ready to enter what is deeper, the truth. I long to reveal where you realize the real battle is not in human words, but in the unseen realm, and I will teach you how to overcome there. There are days when you look at the upheavals that rush in, and you immediately conclude that I am against you. I see your heart draw back, becoming guarded even against my love, because you assume every hardship is a sign of punishment. But my child, not every strong wind carries a storm. Sometimes it is only the breeze I send to awaken the faith that has fallen asleep within you. You have endured so much that every trial makes you ask, does God still love me? I do not blame you, yet it grieves me to see you misunderstand my heart so deeply. If I truly desired to punish you, I would never have stood within your pain to weep with you. Many adversities do not come to crush you, but to keep you from paths that could destroy your soul later. Yet because your eyes focus only on the present, you do not see the dangers I have taken upon myself in your place. You fault me for what you have lost, but you do not see how I have saved you from what is far more dangerous. There are dreams I do not allow to bloom because they would lead you away from me. There are doors I close because behind them are wounds you do not have the strength to bear. You call it punishment, but I call it protection. And if you look deeper, you will see my hand shielding you in the midst of what seems so fragile. Your heart misunderstands me easily because you have been hurt so often by people, and you have unknowingly placed their ways upon me. People may accuse you, abandon you, or use harsh words to make you feel condemned, and you assume I am the same. But I am the one who never acts out of hot anger, nor uses punishment to prove power. I correct you with gentleness, like a father touching a wound, so it will not be poisoned. That touch may sting, but it is for healing, not for harm. Do not confuse those healing touches with the condemnation you once received from the world. I am not like them, and you must learn again to see me with a heart no longer ruled by fear. I invite you to come near, not to scold you, but to return to you the truth. Your sorrow has bent out of shape. Let me explain what adversity is trying to teach you. Let me gather back the parts of you that you thought were lost. Each time you draw near to me in your weariness, I will place within you a strength you could never find within yourself. I do not need you to be strong before me. I only need you to be honest enough to say you are hurting and you do not understand. And when you lift your eyes in that weakness, I will show you that my hand has always stood in front of you, even when you believed I left you in the dark. When you realize adversity is not punishment but guidance, you will look at life with different eyes. You will see that events no longer take the shape of fear, but become invitations for you to pause, to listen, and to walk in the place I have appointed. And when you understand this, you will naturally recognize that your battle is not with circumstances, nor with people. It is with unseen forces seeking to steal your peace. From there, your steps will turn toward where I am leading you, the place where you learn to fight, not with anxiety, but with faith. Faith I have forged through every trial you once mistook for punishment. At times you stare so long at attacks, scrutinizing eyes, and the world's injustices that you think they are the only battlefield you face. You feel cornered, forced to explain, to defend yourself, to prove yourself, to compete. And in all of it, your heart grows exhausted. You forget that a greater battle is unfolding, not in words or attitudes, but within your soul. It is being pulled away from the peace I give. When you spend all your strength reacting to the world, you have no strength left to cling to me. You see this person, that event, this situation, yet you do not see me standing beside you. And my child, when you look only at what natural eyes can see, you will always feel defeated. even though in truth I have already appointed victory for you. Even deeper, you forget the unseen realm because you have been trained for too long to believe only what can be measured, weighed, and counted. You trust the number of insults aimed at you more than you trust the number of angels surrounding you and guarding you day by day. You hear one harsh remark and let it pierce your heart, while you treat lightly the many promises I have spoken over your life. I want you to know this. Around you, there is not only the world, but also my army in the spirit, standing exactly where I have assigned them. You are not alone in any circumstance. If I allow you to pass through it, it means I have already surrounded you with protection your eyes have not yet perceived. If you could see as I see, you would be less quick to answer back, and far calmer before every surge of noise. When everything grows loud, you often think you must have the last word, must win the argument, must be vindicated immediately before people. But my child, arguments, schemes, and slander are only outward noise. My plan for you is the melody quietly directing your entire life. I do not build your future on the foundation of human opinion, but on the foundation of my word. Each time you try to manage things, to win every small confrontation, you unknowingly step away from the greater strategy I have drawn for you. I am not telling you to be silent in the face of injustice, but I am teaching you to choose your battles, not the battles of ego, but the battle of keeping your heart from drifting away from the truth. When you know what matters most, you will no longer be swept into every challenge the world throws at you. I also want you to recognize that your victory does not begin with outward outcomes, but with your inward position standing where you belong. Your victory has been written already within my design. What is lacking is not opportunity, but steadfastness and obedience. When you obey me, you no longer need to rush to prove anything to the world, because I, myself, will speak for you at the right time. Steadfastness does not mean you never tremble, it means even while trembling, you still choose to stand beneath the shadow of my wings. Obedience does not mean you understand everything, it means you dare to say yes, even when you cannot yet see the whole picture. And when you stand where I call you to stand, every attack against you will only reach the surface, and cannot touch the deepest part I am guarding. So I invite you back to the true way of fighting, not through quarrels, but through quiet hours on your knees, not through rivalry, but through trust placed in me. Let me teach you how to be still in the midst of noise, how to see through circumstances into what is happening in the spiritual realm, how to choose peace instead of futile resistance. When you begin to value what I am doing within you more than what people say about you, you will feel your burden grow lighter. I will open your eyes to see that every step you take with me is already part of victory, even if outwardly nothing changes immediately. And from there, you will be ready to enter deeper chapters of restoration, where you not only step out of meaningless battles outside, but also learn to live as one who knows they belong to the one who has never lost a single battle. You do not know how many times I have intervened so gently, so quietly, to keep your life from falling into pits you have not even seen. There were moments you thought you merely escaped by a hair, yet you did not realize I was the one who placed my hand on the steering wheel. On your steps, on decisions that seemed so small, there were journeys where, if you had been a few seconds slower or a little more rushed, everything would have turned in a completely different direction. Yet I drew you out of that dangerous moment while you called it coincidence. There were meetings I silently prevented, relationships I allowed to break early, opportunities that looked beautiful but I did not permit you to grasp, because I knew what lay behind them were wounds you did not have the strength to bear. You only see what you lost, but I see what I saved you from, and if you could see all that I pushed back, dissolved, and stopped before it ever formed, you would bow your head and say, if not for you, I would not have been able to stand to this day. I desire that one day, when you have grown more mature in faith, I will open your spiritual senses so you can perceive the spiritual reality surrounding you. If I allowed you a glimpse, you would see that it is not only gossiping tongues, scrutinizing eyes, or the doors of this earthly life. There are also unseen armies moving at my command. Around you are my messengers, servants who minister in the realm of the Spirit, not loud, not showy, yet always on watch to guard you the moment I speak a word. There are nights when you fall asleep exhausted, thinking you have been completely abandoned. But my angels have encircled you, shielding you, pushing back attacks you will never even know existed. Arrows of envy, wickedness, and dark intentions have been aimed at you. But before they could draw near, I caused them to shatter, to dissolve as though they had never been released. The battle in the spiritual realm is not a distant story. It is unfolding day by day. And you are the one I protect at the very center of that battle, even if you cannot hear swords clash or see the fire around you. I lift you up and hold you in my arms, not to make you someone who lives tense and suspicious of everything, but so you will know you are safe even when everything outside is raging. I want you to remember this, the fact that you are still breathing, still walking, still able to lift your eyes and call on my name is already clear evidence that my hand has never left your life. You may not see yourself as successful like others. You may not have what you long for. But before you grieve those things, look back and see how many cliffs I have kept you from. Illnesses that seemed ordinary, yet never reached your life. Accidents that almost happened. Schemes aimed at you that suddenly tangled and failed. These were not mere luck. These were moments when I stepped into the flow of life, quietly changed one detail, bent a situation, overturned an intention, so the story would not end the way the enemy desired, but would continue along the path I had set from the beginning. So I want to tell you gently this: when storms come, please do not rush to conclude that everything is over or that I have turned my back on you. Do not let your heart be instantly flooded with panic because of one bad piece of news, one threat, one sudden upheaval. I know your first instinct is fear, to react, to scramble to defend yourself. But, my child, you have told me you choose to trust me. You promised me you no longer want to live by the rhythm of the world's voices. Do not let moments of weakness make you forget what you once said with tears and sincerity. Each time you allow fear to take the wheel, you hand circumstances an authority that should belong to me alone, the authority to direct where you go, where you stop, and how long you remain there. When you permit threats and lies to pierce deep into your heart, they begin to kindle thoughts that I know will harm you in the long run. People may curse you, belittle you, invent stories, twist the truth. The world may pronounce heavy sentences without any hearing, but all of it stands at the edge when you are in my arms. I wrap you in my love, like a father tucking a small child under a blanket on a cold night, so that no matter how strong the wind blows, it can only swirl outside. Cruel words, threats, and bleak predictions about your future have no authority over your soul unless you yourself open the door of your heart and agree with them. I cannot forbid people from speaking, but I can teach you not to let them decide who you are, not to let them write the story of your life in my place. You need to know that I am leading you into a deeper place of faith and understanding, where the way you respond to trials will no longer be the way it used to be. Faith has different depths, and the wisdom that belongs to me has steps you will gradually climb. I will not keep you forever in the low place where mockery, arguments, slander, and conflict can easily reach you. I want to lift you to a higher vantage point, where you can see the whole picture, where you can perceive even what is happening behind the world's words. At that height, you will no longer be dragged into every verbal battle, every challenge, every wave of opinion. You will learn to discern which battles truly require your strength, and which small chaos exists only to pull you off the path I have marked out. Not everyone who attacks you fully understands what they are doing. Some are wounded, and therefore wound others. Some fear losing something, and so they pressure and deny you. Some simply let jealousy speak instead of truth. They want you to react, because when you lose your calm, they feel they have the right to control the story. They want you to be angry, because when you are angry, the wisdom I placed within you is temporarily drowned out, and you will say and do things that later even you will not want to remember. They want to steal your peace, because they know when your mind is in turmoil, you will easily doubt me, doubt yourself, and even doubt those who love you sincerely. A heart stirred into agitation is like a river in flood. It does not only sweep away what harms it, it also carries off the good things that were standing in their rightful place. I do not want you to become such a river, out of control. I want you to become like a deep lake. There may be wind, there may be rain, there may be stones that fall and ripple the surface. Yet the deeper you go, the more everything keeps its quietness. You may feel sad, wronged, wounded. I am not telling you to pretend nothing is happening. But even in those honest emotions, I want the deepest part of you to cling tightly to me, so you do not respond only from passing feelings, but from the wisdom that flows from me. When you learn to pause for one beat before replying, to turn inward and ask me before answering the world, you are allowing me to be Lord of the battle instead of letting emotion take control. Therefore, receive the peace I give you not as a beautiful concept, but as real armor for your soul. The peace I give is not the condition of everything going smoothly, but the ability to stand firm even while the wind still blows and the waves still strike. The more you trust me, the weightier that peace becomes within you. The more you fix your gaze on me, the more those noisy voices fade. Each time bad news arrives, try taking a deep breath, call my name within your heart, and say, I choose to trust you, not my feelings in this moment. Each time you hear words that sting, bring them before me and ask me what is truth and what is deception. Each time you want to answer immediately, give me a moment to remind you who you are. In my eyes, then speak, then act. None of this is merely psychological technique. It is an act of faith, choosing to lean on me rather than on natural reflex. When you live this way, you will discover something strange yet true. Circumstances outside may not change at once. People may still behave as they wish, but within you a new steadiness will begin to form. You will no longer be easily swept away by waves of emotion, no longer allow a careless remark to ruin an entire day, no longer let a cold glance make you doubt the whole value of who you are. You will gradually recognize that the real battle is not about who is right, who is wrong by the world's standards, but about whether you still keep your faith, your peace, and your communion with me. And once you keep those things, you have won more than you realize. I will continue fighting in the places you cannot see, and you remain steady in the portion I entrust to you. Guard your heart. Guard your faith. Keep your eyes on me. When you do that, no noise in this world will be loud enough to drown out my whisper in the depths of your soul. Pause for a moment right within the very situation you are in, whether it is in a cramped, rented room, on a weary bus ride, or in a room full of people while your heart feels lonely. Let the surrounding noise step back a little and give your soul a small space to become still. In that moment, I want you to receive my word. No need for ornate prayers, no need for polished language. Only speak to me with what is true, even if you can only whisper it in your thoughts. When you take my word and place it on your lips and in your heart, you are allowing another power to enter your life, not the unstable power of shifting emotion, but the authority of the promises I spoke before time began. The invisible chains of fear, of shame, of always bowing your head because of cruel words will gradually be loosened, not because you strain hard enough, but because my word never returns empty. I know there have been many times when one harsh sentence, one criticism, one baseless rumor was enough to disturb you until you had no peace. You tried every way to soothe yourself, defend yourself, guess and overthink what others were thinking, and those spirals exhausted you. But I want to teach you a different rhythm of living instead of filling your heart with worry. Let me fill it with my presence and my promises. I will steadily undo long-held habits that make you react in fear whenever your name is mentioned in the world's talk. And I will teach you how to stand firm even when public opinion swirls around you like a storm. When bad news knocks at the door, you are often the first to condemn yourself, as though every bitter thing in life were proof that you are unworthy, that you are not good enough, that you will never be defended. You fold in on yourself, withdraw, look for the safest hiding place, simply so you will not have to face more judgment. But, my child, I did not form you to spend your whole life bowed beneath other people's evaluations. When hard circumstances appear, I do not ask you to pretend there is no pain, but I call you to stand upright, draw a deep breath, and remember, you are not alone. I have spoken to your soul many times that I am with you. But because you have been so busy listening to the world's noise, my words often seem to echo from far away. Today I say it again. With all tenderness, I do not leave you, even when you feel lost in a room with no way out. Those who attack you may believe you have no one backing you, that you are an easy target, that a few sentences are enough to bring you down. They think you have no one on your side, so they take your tears and dignity lightly. But they do not know that behind the one they call weak stands the mighty arm of the one who made heaven and earth. I want you to begin seeing yourself through that lens, not as someone alone among wolves, but as a child of the one who never lets you fight alone. Do not allow rumors, distorted words, or misguided judgments to become roots driven deep into your heart. Do not let them turn into haunting whispers each night as you try to fall asleep. I know there are phrases that seem small, yet become a blade lodged in your memory so that you repeat them to yourself without realizing it. You hear them say, "You are useless," and you rehearse that sentence in silence. You hear them call you deceitful, and you begin to doubt even your own motives. You hear them pin a shameful name on you, and you let it slip into the deepest part of your soul like a label you cannot peel away. You do not realize that every time you repeat those words, you are unknowingly watering a bitter root, allowing it to grow larger. I invite you into a new habit. When a slanderous word reaches your ears, do not immediately think along with it. Bring it before me. Ask me, Lord, what do you call me? What do you think of me? And I will answer you, not with cheap, degrading phrases, but with the truth of who you are in my eyes, that you are loved by me, chosen by me, and kept by me. When you allow that truth to take root deeper than every lie, the noise of the world will gradually lose its power to wound what is deepest within you. I do not promise that no one will oppose you, but I promise that I will be the strength that carries you through it without shattering as you once did. I will give you a steadiness you never believed you could have, a peace that enables you to remain still, even when every voice around you tries to drag you into conflict. I know there are moments you want to speak loudly to defend yourself, to prove you are not what people have labeled you, but you also know that the more you try to explain, the more exhausted you become. Give me the chance to be your defender. I am not telling you to be silent in every situation, but I want you to learn to choose the moment. There are battles you do not need to enter, because I am already standing there and speaking for you. If you dare to entrust me with the right to handle those injustices, you will lose fewer nights of sleep over what is beyond your control. I will teach you to answer with wisdom, not impulsive emotion, with kindness, not the bitterness you have tasted from others. And in that very process, you will realize that what I am building within you is far more precious than the struggle to satisfy people. Even when you stumble, even when you say or do what is not right, I will not turn my back on you as you so often fear. I see your faults more clearly than anyone, but I also see your heart when you repent and grieve over what has not pleased me. You often imagine that when you fail, I stand far away with folded arms, waiting for you to fix yourself before you are allowed to return. But that is not how I love. I step into the very place where you fell. I sit beside you, and I wait until you are calm enough to look up. I listen to your sighs as I would listen to a prayer, and I treasure every tear no one sees on your face. When you say to me, I was wrong, I don't want to go on like this anymore, I do not record your sin to bring it up later. I begin the work of healing the ground that has been wounded. I do correct you, yes, but so you will not keep harming yourself, not to disgrace you before the world. I have never grown weary of lifting you up. If you do not grow weary of returning to me, I tell you something important. If you truly turn away from what corrupts you, from the road that leads you far from me, and you decisively step away from relationships that pull you down into the depths, you will see a level of freedom and happiness you have never touched before. I know there are friends who make you laugh, but afterward leave you hollow and heavy, conversations that entertain you for a moment yet move you a few steps farther from me. I am not demanding that you live in isolation, but I want to remove from your life the connections that are quietly destroying the value I placed within you. Many times I have whispered in your heart, this group is not for you. That path is not for you. But you fear change. You fear misunderstanding. You fear being seen as different. Remember, no one has the right to define your life but me. If you dare to let me separate you from what does not belong to you, I will not let you lack. I will bring into your life new relationships, healthy ones that help you grow, strengthen you in faith, and walk with you on the road I have drawn. True happiness does not come from many people applauding you, but from you standing in the right place within my holy will. All of it returns to one point in the end. Whom will you believe? Will you believe the cold condemnation of people? Or will you believe my loving declaration? Will you believe you are forever imprisoned by your past? Or will you believe I can open for you a new beginning, right where you thought it was the final period? I do not force your faith, I invite it. Many times I have knocked. Many times I have asked you through circumstances, through small reminders, through moments when you nearly fell yet still remain standing. I do not ask to frighten you. I ask so you will recognize where you are and where you want to go. I know you are fragile. I know you are easily shaken, and I am not surprised by that. But from today, when you see your weakness, do not conclude that everything is over. Remember that I am the Almighty. You bring the faith, even if it is only a very small measure, and I bring the power that turns that small faith into something extraordinary. There are times you say, I have no strength left, and I do not mock you. I do not tell you to push harder by your own might. I come close. I place my hand on your shoulder, and I say, all right, let me lift you. I will keep doing that today, tomorrow, and until your journey on this earth comes to its end. You were never meant to carry the whole sky alone, for I am the tireless one who upholds you. You may not see all the calamities I have blocked before they could reach you and your family, but I want you to know that without my covering, far worse would have happened than you imagine. I have walked with your family through hard seasons when you could not understand why everything had not completely collapsed, because I was still holding you. And I do not stop there. I do not only protect, I also want to lead your whole household into a deeper knowing of me, a fuller trust in me, and into the stream of blessing I prepared long ago. So, I want you to become the bearer of my message to those in your home. Do not think you are too small or too unworthy to speak of me. I can use your very wounds and experiences to touch their hearts. Tell them that I am not a vague idea, but the one who has truly intervened, preserved, and made a way in your life. Speak for me. Each person in your family does not exist by accident, but I have a specific intention, a specific path, a divine blueprint for their life. I did not create anyone to live a meaningless life and then disappear. Each one has a portion to fulfill, a calling, a plan that must be completed before I call them home. And I want both you and those you love to know this, so you will no longer live in fear of human voices, but live with the awareness that you belong to one greater than every accusation, every slander, every visible battle. When you and your family begin to walk in that path, you will realize that everything I have allowed you to go through, misunderstandings, painful words, sleepless nights, has not been meaningless. It has all been preparation, so you would know more deeply my protection, my guidance, and my unchanging love for you. Therefore, my child, go now and tell those who are weary, those who think they have failed, have been abandoned, that I, the one who called their name before they were formed in their mother's womb, am still with them, still looking at them with eyes full of compassion. Gently remind them not to let their hearts sink because of what they believe is lost money that is gone, a loved one who has left, a job that seemed secure but suddenly vanished, or plans they once held with great hope that now lie only as fragments in memory. Tell them that these things, though they hurt, are not the ending of the story I am writing over their lives. No door closes without my knowing, no tear falls without me gathering it. Tell them they do not need to define their life based on one season of trial, because I see them across the whole journey, while they see only a temporary page that has been crumpled. Remind them that some things I allow to drift away not because they are unworthy, but because I am making room for something deeper, better, and more fitting for their soul. And do not forget to tell them that even if they think they have nothing left, in my hands they have never been the defeated one. Also explain to them that no upheaval touches their life outside of my sight, even when events come so quickly they cannot understand. I am still quietly watching every detail, arranging every step they have not yet recognized. Tell them that some things that look like loss are, in truth, a wall that blocks them from a road leading to a greater ruin. Tell them how many times I have pulled them out of a relationship that, if continued, would have suffocated their heart. How many times I let a door of employment close, because I knew that if they entered, their soul would be swept away by ambition and pressure that did not belong to them. Do not promise them an easy path, but firmly declare that everything, even what is dark, even the days they keep asking, why, can become material for me to shape into good when they place it back into my hands. They do not need to understand every reason, but they are invited to trust that I never work carelessly. Tell them that even if their eyes see only confusion, in heaven I am still quietly weaving every thread of my plan for them, precisely, beautifully, and with love. And, my child, teach them something simple yet profound in every season, whether favorable or difficult. What I await from them is not human calculations of cleverness, but a heart that knows how to return to me each day. Tell them not to seek me only when everything collapses, then turn away when life becomes temporarily calm. Encourage them to come to me each morning, each late afternoon, even in the most ordinary moments they consider dull. Tell them that when they learn to live with gratitude, not only when they receive what they want, but also when everything runs against expectation, they are opening space in their heart for me to act with greater power. I do not ask them to pretend they are joyful while in pain, but I invite them to offer me a small thank you, even with trembling lips, simply because they trust that I am still sovereign. When they choose to praise me even in tears, not because circumstances are good, but because I am still God, worthy to be exalted then. My child, mysteries begin to unfold in the unseen air that their natural eyes cannot perceive. Chains around their minds start to loosen. Invisible burdens on their shoulders grow lighter, and darkness loses its right to dominate as it once did. Tell them that a heart overflowing with praise is not a moral slogan, but a key that unlocks many miracles their reason cannot explain, yet their soul will recognize with unmistakable clarity. My child, you must also take my place and reassure them. Do not let anxiety grind down the days they are living. Tell them that every time they clutch their fears tight, calculating every possibility, trying to control everything that could happen, their minds will only grow more exhausted. Gently help them see that they were not made to carry it all, nor invited to become the savior of their own lives. Invite them to do something that seems weak, yet is full of power in the spirit. Place every worry, every uncertainty, every unanswered question into my hands. Encourage them to speak to me with the truest words, without ornament, saying, I can't untangle this anymore, please come and turn it around. Remind them that when they release the rope that is choking their breath, that is when I have space to intervene fully. I do not need them to prove faith through rushed actions. I need them to trust deeply enough to stop no longer forcing everything to be fixed their way, but opening their hearts for me to lead them down a path they never imagined. Also warn them that when they live in prolonged tension without rest, without laying things down, their emotions will turn against them. They will become quicker to anger, quicker to suspicion, quicker to wound others and themselves, and then fall into a cycle of regret and self-blame. Remind them that decisions made in a mind tangled in chaos, words poured out in haste while the heart is under pressure, so easily go wrong, so easily drift off course, so easily speak what cannot be taken back. Tell them I am not in a hurry to push them into immediate action. Many times what I want most is simply to stop. Stop so they do not hurt themselves and others more. Stop so they do not walk into dead ends I never led them to. Stop so they can hear what I am saying amid the frantic noise of this life. Tell them that moving forward is not always courage. Sometimes courage is daring to slow down, daring to confess, I don't know what to do, and coming to me instead of rushing to manage everything in panic. And then, my child, invite them to come to me not through complicated rituals, but through a few minutes of true stillness. Tell them to find a quiet place, a place where they can step away from screens, noise, work, relentless notifications, until it is only them and me. Tell them that when they sit there even for a few minutes with a heart that opens up, even clumsily, I will draw nearer than they expect. Help them understand as a father lays his hand upon the head of a trembling child. So I do. I touch them not with flesh, but with a gentle presence so real they can feel their hearts soften. I will give them a peace unlike any relief the world can offer, a peace not rooted in the fact that every problem has been solved, but rooted in the truth that I am here and I will not leave them. I will also rekindle in them a new spark of hope, not that everything will unfold exactly according to their plans, but that whatever lies ahead, I can turn all things to serve what is good in the end. Tell them that in that stillness, they will see the swirling thoughts slow down, the persistent questions stop screaming, and they will breathe deeper, lighter, knowing they are resting their heads on the shoulder of the one who never sleeps. Finally, remind them, and also remind yourself, that this is not merely an invitation for one day, but a new way of living I desire to form within them. Encourage them to return to me not only when storms rise, but also when skies are calm, because it is in those seemingly ordinary days that the foundation of their faith is quietly built. Let them know that each time they choose not to be swallowed by anxiety, each time they intentionally offer thanksgiving though they see nothing changed yet, each time they enter my presence to rest instead of spinning in search of solutions, they are training their souls to remember this. The true battle is not in what the eyes can see, but in the place where trust clings tightly to me. And when they live this way, my child, they will realize something wondrous has happened. Their lives may not have fewer trials, but they are no longer dragged by them. The storm may not vanish at once, yet within them there is already a sky of peace no power of this world can reach, because it is the place where I, myself, dwell. I tell you, the day will come when even your face will tell the story I am writing within you. No longer the look of confusion and worry, no longer the evasive glance as before, but eyes calm and deep, carrying a perseverance no circumstance can wear away. On that day, others will no longer easily read trembling or disorientation in you, because I will have quietly renewed the inner substance of who you are. The enemy once grew used to seeing you falter, soft, hesitant, before every word the world throws at you, but it will be astonished to see you stand firm, unshaken, like one who has found a support nothing can move. I want you to know that I do not heal you only by words. I also touch your walk, your voice, your breathing, and your gaze, so that all of it reflects the peace I place within you. One day, you will realize you are no longer the old self, because even the way you fall silent or face a problem bears my mark. And this is not the result of you straining to appear strong, but the fruit of a journey in which you allowed me to transform you from within. I place my Holy Spirit in your life, not as something vague and distant, but as a true companion living, active, and practical in every detail. He is not only comfort when you are weak, he is also the answer to the dead ends you believed had no way out. When you do not know what to do, he will remind you of what I have spoken. When you think you are about to collapse, he will breathe a new current of life into your soul. When you stand before choices, he will gently draw you away from the darkness you cannot distinguish by your feelings. My Holy Spirit is the way out you have prayed for so many times. Even when you did not call him by name, I do not leave you in a maze and demand you find your own way. I give you a guide, so you no longer have to grope through the dark alone. If you become sensitive to the small promptings within, you will see he is working far more than you have imagined. But for all of this to become clear, you must open your heart to me more than you have been doing all these years. I do not force you, nor do I coerce your will, for true love does not come with imposition. I wait for you with a patience no one in this world could ever have with you. Yet I cannot renew your life if you keep closing yourself off. Clutching old pains is a habit. When you truly open up, not merely with words, but by allowing me to look again into the hidden corners you have been concealing, that is when I can begin a new work in you. I will not touch only surface wounds. I will reach the very place where you once swore within yourself, "No one is allowed to touch this again." I do not do this to cause you more pain, but so that wound will no longer be the dark region guiding all your decisions. Once you release it, I will lift you out of the loops that have worn you down yet you could not escape. When you choose to turn your back on evil, it is not merely avoiding a specific sin, it is the moment you decisively let go of what dims my voice within you. You cannot hold my hand while embracing what you know is contrary to my ways, and still expect your soul to be at peace. I do not demand that you be perfect immediately, but I invite you with utmost seriousness, place me above fleeting desires, above relationships that pull you away from me, above even the reputation you are trying so hard to hold on to. When you put me in my rightful place, Everything else will fall into its place. Some things will remain. Some will have to move away. At first you may feel as though you are losing something, but later you will understand, this is how I clear the road so you are not entangled in invisible chains. Do not fear what you must release. Fear only what you keep that is quietly killing faith within you. I liken you to a lump of clay set in the hands of a potter. I do not shape you according to the demands of people, nor bend you to a mold society imposes. I shape you according to the original purpose I had for you before you were born. There are times you feel pressure, as if everything is tightening around you. That is not me crushing you, but me removing what is warped, cracked, and excessive, so you may become steady, whole, and useful in my hands. I know there are moments you think you cannot endure one more thing, but my child, I have never once lost my grip. I see your true limits, and I work with you on that foundation, not according to your harsh imagination of yourself. When you trust my hands more than you trust your fear, you will recognize that the seasons when you felt most intensely needed are often the seasons that produce the greatest strength in your life. As I work in you, the timidity, the shrinking back, the sluggishness in your soul will gradually fade, not because you force yourself to be brave, but because you begin to know who is standing with you. I do not form in you a heart that trembles at every criticism. I form in you the heart of one who knows which king they belong to, and therefore no longer lives chasing approval from one person to another. The fear that once bound your feet, that once made you miss opportunities, that once kept you silent when you should have spoken, will lose its power as you plant your feet on my foundation. I do not promise you will never feel anxious again, but I promise anxiety will no longer command you as it once did. A new heart will be formed, no longer only retreating, but ready to step forward when I call. This is the heart of one who has learned to trust, not in their own courage, but in my presence. Within you I will awaken the heart of a victor, not the loud, showy glory of the world, but a quiet victory, enduring in the depths of the soul. You will no longer live like one who is always standing at the edge of defeat, afraid that one more upheaval will make you collapse. I place within you a faith that is not shaken by feelings, not dependent on how people treat you today, but anchored tightly to what I have spoken. This faith will help you stand when everything around you changes. Keep praying when the answer has not yet come. Keep doing what is right when no one notices. Those around you may not fully understand what I am doing in you, but they will feel the new life radiating from the way you face hardship. And you yourself, in some moment, will suddenly realize I am no longer the person who used to be so afraid. I want you to understand the victory you long to see with your eyes today was decided by me long ago. No problem is beyond my sight. No trial takes me by surprise. I do not wait until you fall into trouble and then scramble to save you. My plan runs ahead of every event ahead, even of the wrong choices you once made. When I say your victory begins today, it is not the moment it is created, but the moment you begin to step into what I prepared from before the ages. What I need from you is not flawless strength, but trust that allows me to lead. When you choose to trust me more fully, that becomes the starting point for you to experience the story of victory I have already written for you. Therefore, I invite you to hold my word as a treasure in your hands, not as lines to read and finish, but as nourishment for your soul. Let the promises I have spoken not remain on paper or in a hazy memory, but become the standard by which you interpret your circumstances. As you meditate on my word, your mind will be renewed. Old patterns of thought, negative, weary, self-diminishing, will be replaced by liberating truth. Let those words seep into your heart, dwell in your thoughts, appear in your prayers, and even shape how you speak to yourself each day. Do not use my word only as a lifebuoy when you are about to sink. Use it as the compass that guides every step, so you know what to hold and what to release. And with that, stop looking around to compare. Fix your eyes instead on the reward I set before you. A reward not of fleeting fame, but a full life in me. I also want to see you use the gifts I have placed within you wholeheartedly, not lazily, not half-heartedly. You were not given gifts only to hide them behind fear or clever excuses. Every ability, every talent, every opportunity I give you is an instrument for the sacred battle you are part of. When you dare to use them even in very small things, you are stepping, step by step, into the very purpose for which I formed you. I know you often feel inadequate, thinking you are not enough. But my child, no one is enough before they begin. I am the one who makes them enough as they obey. Do not let the gaze of others or the fear of failure suffocate what I have planted in you. Instead of asking, "Will people like it?" ask, "Does this please me?" Then you will find yourself lighter, freer, more focused on the true destination. You are not invited to fight simply to impress someone, or to have the world applaud your bravery. You were not born to be a performance for the crowd. You are called to be faithful to me, to walk the path I assign, to experience victories whose depth only you and I fully understand. Every battle you overcome with me becomes a mark upon your soul, evidence that my grace is sufficient for you. Do not trade inner steadiness for a few passing compliments. I do not look at glittering appearances. I look at how you hold faith when no one sees, how you still choose what is right when there is no applause. And it is precisely those quiet moments that record your victory in eternity. Remember, the collisions on the outside are only the surface of the battle. The true battlefield is in the spiritual realm, unseen to human eyes, yet felt clearly by your soul. Your enemy is not this person or that person, this circumstance or that circumstance. The true enemy is the powers of darkness that want to strangle hope, break faith, and blur my image within you. So you cannot fight like one punching the air, striking from emotion, reacting by instinct, growing weary without even understanding what you are doing. You must put on the wisdom I give, to know when to be silent, when to speak, when to move, when to stand still. I do not call you to rush into every confrontation. I call you to discern which battles I have appointed for you, and to fight them with spiritual weapons, not with human impulsiveness. I want you to take seriously what I am saying to you today, because this is not optional advice, but a reminder for the long road ahead. While many people keep spinning in meaningless arguments, digging pits of doubt and bitterness, only to fall into them themselves, I want you to choose a different path. You must not continue living like one who stands at the shoreline, always weighing gains and losses, never daring to step forward. I call you to have the courage to walk straight into the headwind, not because you crave risk, but because you know I am standing in the very heart of the storm, waiting for you. And in that place that seems most violent, you will see me place into your hand the sword of my word and the banner that belongs to the kingdom of heaven. When you stand in the storm, not running, not turning your back, but holding the position I give you, one hand gripping the sword of my word, the other holding the banner of faith, then you step out not as a refugee, but as one who understands they are a citizen of the heavenly kingdom. The storm may roar, the ground beneath your feet may quake, yet you will know I am using the very fury of the moment to display the authority of my peace over your life. And then, in a moment you do not expect, the storm will have to quiet down, not because it suddenly becomes gentle, but because it has touched the limit of what I allow. When the sky turns calm again, you will not be the same person you were before you entered the storm. You will come out as one who has tasted my shelter, who understands more clearly the strength I give, and from the deepest place within you will know I did not win because I was strong, but because I belong to the one who has never been defeated. And then, as you slowly come to understand that the real battle is not in the noise around you, but in the side you choose to stand on, I want you to hear this very clearly within your own heart. It is time for you to stop living like someone defeated. I did not place you on the battlefield so you would keep hiding behind fear. Keep avoiding. Keep counting what people say about you. I brought you out into the open field of your life so you could plant the very flag I placed in your hands. Not the proud flag of the ego, but the flag of a child who knows they belong to the one who has never lost a single battle. When you dare to stand tall, when you dare to say to the circumstances threatening you, I no longer belong to the darkness, I belong to my Lord. In that moment you are not only speaking to the world, you are also affirming to yourself your true identity. I see that moment, and I smile, because that is when you stop running in circles in fear and begin to walk in the authority I set over your life long ago. You do not step forward like someone driven into a dead end, but like a soldier who knows exactly who stands behind them. I want you to know that when I send you to face the things you have avoided for so long, I have not withdrawn my covering, nor have I pushed you into danger to test your heart. If I urge you to turn back and look straight at the wound, at the conflict, at the problem, at the truth within you, it is because I know that behind you stands an unshakable wall, my very self. I do not send you alone, I go with you. I do not tell you to figure it out by yourself, I give you new strength. I do not abandon you to the current, I take your hand right in the raging waters. You think you are alone in the room when you must face hard decisions. But in truth, all of my heaven is bending low over you, and I am standing right beside you, watching you, waiting for you to call on me, waiting for you to believe you are not alone. The courage I am waiting for in you is not the courage of someone who feels no fear, but the courage of someone who knows very well they are weak and still takes a step, because they trust that someone stronger is standing behind them. You have forgotten how many times you thought you would not make it through, and yet you have still walked all the way to today. There were nights you said, this must be my final limit, I cannot endure anymore. And yet the next day you still opened your eyes, still breathed, still could whisper my name. That was not because you were exceptional, but because I lifted you little by little when you had no strength left. Do you remember, there were times your mind was in chaos. Everything felt as if it collapsed all at once, and you could only cry out, even if the prayer was not a complete sentence, only a sigh. A tear, a quiet gaze lifted toward heaven. You thought I did not hear, but those were the moments I bent down closest. You called, and I answered, sometimes not with what you expected, but always with what you truly needed. I intervened in things you never knew: a meeting, a door that closed, an opportunity that seemed to slip away, a passing thought that made you stop at exactly the right time. None of it was accidental. It was the steady rhythm of my hand guarding your life. There were times you felt like you were sinking, truly sinking, like someone being pulled into quicksand, struggling only to sink deeper. Everything around you swept you along: pressure, responsibility, words that wounded you, failures piling one after another, doors suddenly shutting. You even thought, maybe I should just stop. I'll let go. I have nothing left to hold on to. But in the very moment you believed it was the end, I reached out my hand, not a distant hand from the heights of heaven, but a hand very near, touching the deepest place in your heart, a verse of scripture suddenly rising up, someone messaging you at just the right moment, an old song unexpectedly playing and making you cry, a strange stillness pouring in right in the middle of panic. All of it was the way I pulled you out of the mire no one could see. I did not let you drown. Even when you thought you had hit the bottom, If I had not been there, you would not have had enough clarity to continue, not enough breath to stand again after your falls. Look back, you are still here, still alive in your body, still able to feel, still able to pause for a few seconds to read, to listen, to reflect, which means you have never been abandoned. You are still here, not because life has been gentle with you, but because my grace has not left you. You have made it through each day, even when it was only with very slow steps, because I have braced the underside of your soul so it would not shatter. You thought you carried yourself through, but in truth it was I who lifted your feet, steadied your mind, kept your heart from hardening even when it was full of cracks. You are still breathing, which means the plan I have for you is not finished. You can still ache when you do wrong, still feel the sting when you drift from me, still be moved by the call to return, which means I am still at work in the deepest part of you. Those who are dead within no longer feel pain, but you still can feel, and I still speak to you. This is the sign that I have not let go. What you are facing today, however heavy it may seem, has no right to last forever. No storm is eternal, only I am the one who does not change. The burdens you carry, fractured relationships, unstable work, tight finances, wavering emotions, questions about the future, all of it has its limit. I have seen the ending of each thing, even before it began. You cannot see it, so you panic. I see it clearly, so I remain at peace. I do not rush the way you do, because I know everything you go through can become a brick that builds you up. If you allow me to use it rightly, what hurts you today can become tomorrow's story that strengthens someone else. If you let me turn it into testimony rather than a scar of bitterness, I do not promise you everything will turn according to your wishes, but I do assure you that all things, both good and bad, can contribute to a good outcome when placed in my hands. I want you to begin seeing your trials as temporary chapters, not as a life sentence. When you understand that today's anxieties will also pass, you will panic less. And more than that, you will learn to cooperate with me in each small step. You will no longer only pray, "Lord, please take this away from me," but will add, "Please show me what you are teaching me in this journey." When you change your perspective like that, you will no longer be a victim of circumstances, but my student in every upheaval. I am not looking for perfect children. I am looking for children willing to be taught. I do not demand you always be strong. I only ask that you not close your heart to me whenever things do not go your way. If you keep coming back, keep being honest, keep letting me touch the places you try to hide, I will continue reshaping your life until it reflects, in some measure, my heart. And when you have lived long enough with the awareness that I am the one who backs you, the fortress around you, the one who has kept you through so many stormy seasons, you will realize something very strange. You no longer want to fight the world. You no longer crave proving yourself, no longer need to win every small argument, because you know you belong to a victory far greater than any tally of wins and losses. You will learn to be silent when needed, to speak when I urge you, and to walk on without waiting for the world to understand you fully, because you know the one who most needs to understand your life is me, not anyone else. You will focus more on standing where I want you to stand than on worrying about who is standing with you. When you accept me as your refuge, instead of leaning on people's words, you will see that bowing your head before me was never failure. It has always been the beginning of restoration. So, keep walking. You have passed through many things you once believed you could not survive, and you will pass through many more, not because you are becoming better at enduring, but because with every season you go through, I add a new depth of faith within you. I was there in your past. I am here in your present, and I am already standing in every day ahead of you. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you know who holds tomorrow, and that is enough to keep you moving forward. The flag you plant today, the flag of faith, surrender, and the decision not to give up will become a marker for the roads to come. Each time you look back, you will remember, there, I did not collapse, because my Lord stood with me, and from that point on, you will no longer fear new battles, because you will know that no enemy, no trial, no accusation can defeat a child who knows they are held within the arms of the one who declared, I am with you to the very end. My child, I have witnessed every step you have taken through heavy days. I have seen the cuts in your soul run far deeper than the wounds on your body. I know there were moments you thought you had no strength left to continue, that every door seemed shut in your face. That prayer was nothing but sighs, dissolving into emptiness. But I want you to hear this clearly. I have never used my power to push you into a pit of despair. I did not create you only to take pleasure in watching you fall. The trials you have walked through are not a hammer of punishment striking your life, but a quiet mold shaping your faith again. So you do not lean on what is temporary, but learn to lay the foundation of your life in me. Do not rush to assume pain means rejection, for if I had wanted to destroy you, I would not have lifted you so many times when you thought there was no escape. I am not one who changes on a whim, loving one moment, hating the next, lifting you up then throwing you down. I am the faithful one, and my love for you is not measured by the luck or misfortune of your circumstances, perhaps because of relentless upheavals, because of heavy losses, because of things you could not understand. There were moments you wanted to place all the blame on me. In your heart echoed the questions, if God loves me, why do I suffer like this? Why do I have to lose so much? Why do the dreams I protected shatter in my hands? I listened to every question. I am not offended by your weakness. I understand you are hurting and searching for a place to unload the weight. But I plead with you, do not bind me to the defendant's chair in a courtroom you built yourself. Do not let the enemy use your exhaustion to plant the thought that I am the cause of all your pain. Remember this. Have I ever taken back the gifts I placed in your hands just to wound you? Have I ever blessed you, only to secretly scheme to steal it back? Simply because I wanted to watch you collapse in disappointment? No, my nature is not that. Once I stretched out my arms on the cross and poured out everything I had for you. I willingly took the place of the cursed for you. I will not turn back and place a curse upon your life again. When you return to me with a repentant heart, when you acknowledge your sin, let go of crooked paths, I embrace you in complete forgiveness. I do not forgive halfway, nor do I keep a file of your failures to pull out one day and remind you what you have recognized and brought before me. I have placed where it no longer has authority to control your life. So what still binds you? It is the quiet accusations in your mind, the hidden voice that says, you are not worthy. You have already ruined it. You are someone left behind. Those voices do not come from me. The enemy clings to your old wounds and whispers that I have not truly forgiven, that I am still angry, that every hardship you face is my excuse to retaliate. My child, do not agree with those words, because once you accept them, you will read every circumstance as evidence of punishment instead of seeing it as an opportunity for me to do something new within you. I know there are times obstacles rise so suddenly that they leave you reeling, a door closing, a relationship cracking, a plan collapsing, an unexpected slander crashing down everything, making you feel pinned against a wall. Then you look around and see those who oppose you seeming to gain the upper hand, their mocking laughter pressing down on your heart. In those moments, I see how easily you slip into two extremes, fear that makes you shrink back, or anger that makes you want to explode. Retaliate. Prove yourself, but neither fear nor anger will lead you where I want you to go. Remember, adversity is not always a sign that I have turned away from you. Sometimes it is the front line where I am training you to fight differently, fighting not merely with words or outward actions, but with a trust fully anchored in me in the middle of chaos. When you let fear lead, you lose peace. When you let anger lead, you lose direction. I do not want you to lose both. Perhaps someone, some circumstance, or some kind of teaching once led you to picture me as one who is always watching to catch your faults, unyielding to the point of coldness, always ready to punish you whenever you stumble. Because of that distorted image, the moment storms rise in your life, you immediately conclude, surely God is punishing me. I want you to stop and ask who planted that picture in your heart. Was it incomplete teaching? Was it painful experiences with people that you unknowingly attached to me? Was it voices in the night, nameless accusations, a vague sense of guilt, until you can no longer tell what is condemnation and what is loving correction? Come back to my word and measure everything against it. For only my word can expose those errors. I am Almighty God, yet my power is always bound to love, never separated from it to become violence. I love you with a love beyond all reasoning, a love that accepted sacrificing myself for you, and that love is not small or temporary, the way people speak lightly to one another. Therefore, I call you to carve this truth deep into your heart. You are loved. You are forgiven. You are chosen. You are protected, even when your feelings have not yet caught up with these realities. I do not want you to hear this once and then let it be swept away by the busyness of life. Let that truth become the anchor that holds your soul when the wind of doubt begins to blow. When you feel your heart starting to accuse me, stop and remind yourself, no, my God is not like that. He has given me eternal life. He does not give life only to turn back and destroy me. I am the one who does not change, and what I have promised over your life, I will not withdraw. No matter how long you have wandered in circles, you only need to take my hand again. I invite you to find a quiet space where it is only you and me, where the noise of the world fades into the background. It does not have to be anywhere special. It only needs to be a place where you can be still enough to stop wearing a mask. Stop bracing yourself. Stop trying to look strong in front of anyone. Come to me in your truest honesty, with questions that have no answers yet, with fears you cannot even name, with regrets piled high. You can tell me what makes you ashamed, what weighs on your conscience, what you dare not share with anyone. I will not turn away, and I will not despise you. I do not need polished prayers. I want a real heart. Pour it out. Tell it all. Let the tears run if they want to spill, because I receive both your sobbing and your choked silences. I am not afraid of your brokenness. I only fear you will keep it alone until it hardens your heart. Make it a habit to take hold of me as soon as the day begins, before every worry pulls you into the familiar spiral. Do not wait until you are exhausted to come to me. Do not wait until everything is out of control to call on me. Come early, like a child drawing near to their father before going into battle to receive counsel, to be held, to know they do not go alone. In those first moments, you may read my word. You may whisper a few simple lines. You may sit in silence and only breathe, knowing that I am there. Tell me what you are anxious about that day, what decisions you must make, what people you must face. When you place the weight of those worries into my hands, I will return to you a different kind of strength, not the strength of self, but the strength that flows from my peace. This is what I desire for you, a true deliverance, not merely temporary, from relentless torment, from the sense of owing a debt to the past, from the cycle of shame and self-blame. I want to uproot the root that makes you look at yourself with suspicion, so you no longer live in fear that I will abandon you at any moment. Do not clutch the verdicts I have already declared canceled. When I say it is finished, it means that burden is no longer permitted to hang around your neck. You only need to agree to step out of the old place, out of the old way of seeing yourself and of seeing me. And each time you choose to trust my forgiveness more than the accusing voice within, you are slowly walking into the land of freedom I have prepared. And there will come a moment right in the middle of what you think is nothing but thick cloud when I gently touch your spirit. Not necessarily a loud miracle that turns everything instantly, but a quiet awakening, like dawn slipping through a crack in the door after a long night. I will help you look back on your life from another angle, so you can see that the outlines of my plan have been there for a long time. You simply could not recognize them before. I will show you where I kept you from falling into danger, the relationships I pruned, the opportunities I closed to protect you from things you thought were good but would have harmed you. And little by little, you will understand that everything I do, even when you did not understand it at the time, is bound to a good intention toward you. When you begin to recognize the beautiful work I have begun in your life, you will no longer view your journey through pessimistic eyes. You will see that what once knocked you down has become the place where you learned perseverance. The tears you once felt ashamed of have become evidence of my sustaining hand. The wounds that once terrified you have become a doorway into deeper understanding of mercy. You will see that I do not write your life with the ink of blind fate, but with the heart of a father who keeps loving and keeps hoping in his child, even when that child no longer believes in themselves. And from that place you will keep walking, not as one who merely survived the storm, but as one who belongs to the one who walked with you through every battle, visible and invisible, and has never lost a single one. My beloved, in all the unseen battles you are facing, I do not want your soul to be drained from bracing itself against every small tremor of this life. I see the moments when you are so tired you only want to give up, to let the current carry you, and you begin to think it is better not to hope for anything anymore. But I tell you, do not let the shadow of circumstances block your gaze from me. Do not give what is happening around you the right to define your worth or to measure my love for you. What you see is only a very small part. What I am doing in the depths of your soul is far greater. I did not call you to live in heaviness and despair, but for your heart to be set free from every invisible burden that has been binding it. I want you to pause for a moment and truly look at me, not through the lens of fear, but with the eyes of a child who dares to believe they are loved, even when they feel unworthy. I am not one who sits and waits to condemn you or expose your failures. On the contrary, I am the one who sees every scrape within your soul and still chooses to gather you into my arms. You do not need to live forever in a state of self-accusation, as if every mistake has put a final period on your life. I do not collect your failures as evidence against you. I see it all. Yet I use a compassionate gaze to turn those things into a starting place for renewal. What I desire is not that you remain trapped in guilt, but that you allow me to heal you and teach you to walk with greater wisdom. And there will be days when I let you recognize my love in ways that surprise you. Sometimes it will be nothing more than a morning that feels quieter than usual, a comfort that arrives at precisely the right time, a small door opening unexpectedly when you thought every path was closed. Do not call it mere coincidence, for I still use the small details of everyday life to whisper to you, I am here. I will make my goodness clear enough that you can no longer keep believing I am distant or indifferent. I want your faith to no longer be a vague idea, but a living experience of one who is always present, always understanding, always walking beside you. Then your faith will not be so easily shaken when storms come. There will also be times when I speak to you in the quiet of early morning, when your mind has not yet been filled with all you must do. I will touch your heart through gentle thoughts, through a verse of scripture, through a deep inner urging that you know did not come from yourself. I long for you to experience my glory not as something far away, but as a new stream of life rising within you. You may not see it with your eyes, but you will sense clearly a warmth, a gentle strength, a feeling of being understood and upheld wrapping around you. That is not a passing emotion. It is a sign that I am restoring the places in your soul that have been cracked for a long time. As you remain longer in that presence, you will fear less whatever changes are happening outside. I also want to dissolve every doubt in you that you do not belong to me. Before the world judged you, I called you by name. Before you stumbled, I already knew where you would stumble. Yet I still chose to love you to the end. You are not an object I use and discard, and you are not a burden I carry unwillingly. You are the child I cherish, the soul I treasure, the treasure I guard whether you realize it or not. Day and night, whether you feel it or not, I stay watchful against what attacks you, and I keep my eyes on you with a tender heart. Every breath you still carry has value to me. I never stop thinking of you. Therefore, I call you to lay down the suspicions about me that you have built from pain or from the harsh actions of people. Do not hurry to press the image of humanity onto me. I am not like those who promised and forgot, who loved and left, who lifted you up only to push you down. I take no pleasure in your pain. I gain nothing from seeing you collapse. The boundaries I set, the warnings I give, are not meant to block your happiness, but to keep you from leading yourself into darkness. Walk with me as you look back over your steps, not to condemn yourself, but to understand why you are carrying certain things today. Every choice carries consequences. I do not deny that. But I also do not abandon you in the middle of those consequences. I invite you to come to me as a child comes to a father, as a friend comes to a faithful friend, as a soul comes to the one who understands it better than it understands itself. I am both the ruler over all things and the one who stoops down to gather every shattered piece of your life without contempt. I am truly holy, like a fire ready to consume all evil, yet that fire burns to protect you from what would destroy you, not to swallow you up. At the same time, I am both the righteous judge and the advocate who stands on your side. I will judge sin, yet I am also the one who provides the way for that sin to be taken away. You do not face justice alone. I stand beside you, sheltering you with the righteousness that comes from me. I paid the price for your redemption with my own life, so you no longer have to live beneath the crushing yoke of sin and condemnation. The stain on your spirit is not a permanent mark, because I have poured out complete forgiveness over you. It is true that wrong choices can bring consequences in this life, fractured relationships, lost opportunities, wounds that are slow to heal. I do not deny that reality, but I step right into the middle of those consequences to uphold you, to level what can be leveled, and to give you strength to rise again, even when everything has not been made perfect. I do not erase the past as though it never existed, but I can turn it into a testimony of grace instead of a reason for you to sink into lifelong regret. What I desire for you is that you do not stop at merely being forgiven, but that you learn, mature, and grow wiser after every stumble. I want you to draw lessons from both right and wrong choices, so the road ahead becomes less crooked. I want you to learn to stay far from what harms you and harms others, not because you fear punishment, but because you honor the life I have given you. When you become aware that each action can touch another person's heart, you will grow more careful, more gentle, and more measured. The renewal I work in you is not only a matter of feelings, it must be seen in a way of living that brings life, rather than sowing further brokenness. And if by my grace you have been kept from great falls, if I have held your steps back from many cliffs you never even knew were there, then continue to live uprightly, not out of pride, but out of gratitude. Stand firm in what is right, not with a superior attitude, but with humility, knowing it is I who have kept you. Turn boldly away from evil, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you understand the cost that sin leaves on a human life. I want your soul no longer drowned in sin, fear, or shame, but flooded with the awareness that you are loved, forgiven, and set free. The freedom I give is not permission to do whatever you want. It is power to do the good you once did not have strength to do. So, come closer to me still. Do not let the thought I am not worthy keep you from stepping toward where I am waiting. Lift up to me your prayers for your family, for those you love, even for those who have wounded you. Every prayer you speak to me is never lost. It is stored like seeds, waiting for the time I cause them to sprout. I hear even your sighs when you have no words left. Waiting can make you restless because you want to see results right away. But I work on a timeline far wider than your expectations. Do not think that my silence means I am doing nothing. Often, the opposite is true. I am preparing things beyond what you can imagine. What you receive may not look like what you described in your prayer, and at first you may struggle to understand. But I promise you this, I never give you something worse than what you asked for. I see dangers you do not see, deep needs you have not yet found words for, and I arrange all things in a way that is good for your soul in the long run. Sometimes I do not bring back the person you want, but I bring the person you truly need. Sometimes I do not keep the job you like, but I lead you into a place where you are more protected. Sometimes I do not fix everything according to the script you drew, but I am writing a story deeper, steadier, and more meaningful. If you continue to trust me and walk with me day by day, you will realize that everything I allow is weaving a picture far greater than any single detail. And in that picture, you will see that you are not a loser in the world's battles, but a child being led by the one who has never lost control over your life. My child, for a moment now, close your eyes, not to escape everything, but to give your soul a true pause. You do not need finely polished or lengthy prayers before me, for I do not demand perfect words from you. I am looking for a heart willing to open, even trembling, even tangled. When the outside world is loud, I invite you into the inner silence, where it is only you and me, where my voice can reach the hidden depths you have tried to conceal, even from yourself. There are worries you dare not speak aloud, heaviness that clings to you from morning until late night, memories that, with only a passing thought, make your heart grow weighed down, yet I have seen it all before you could name it. I do not stand far off watching you endure. I lean in close, touching the wounds you think no one understands and no one needs to know. In that stillness, I do not come to condemn, I come to lift each frozen layer of pain. So you know you no longer have to fight alone in the darkness of your own thoughts. There are mornings when you wake up and your heart already feels heavy. Before the day even begins, you are tired, as though something unseen is waiting to bring you down. You look ahead and find nothing to hope for, and even the thought of getting through one more day is enough to make you want to lie still and avoid every collision. Then when night falls and the outside noise quiets, inside you, a loneliness rises that you cannot explain, as though someone has turned off every lamp of hope. I see you tossing in bed, trying to soothe yourself into sleep, but anxieties, other people's words, and failures you thought you could never survive return one after another. I know there are moments you want to ask me, Lord, are you truly here, or am I left only with echoes inside my heart? And it is in that seemingly hopeless moment that I come nearest to you, not loudly, not with display, but near enough that your soul, if it will grow still for just a little, can feel my gentle presence. I want you to draw near to me, not as a condemned one, but as a weary child coming home after long days adrift. You do not have to have beautiful words ready to say to me. You only need to be honest that you are weak, that you are confused, that you have tried so hard and still feel empty. When you enter my presence, even if your heart is only a silence filled with tears, I understand more than any explanation could convey. I hold you with the tenderness of a father who knows what his child has been through. And I whisper to you, I will not leave you, not ever. Not for a single moment. Even if the world demands that you be strong, that you appear fine. Before me you are allowed to be weak, allowed to cry, allowed to admit you are not enough. I'm not surprised by the cracks in your soul. I'm only grieved when you hide them from me, as though I would reject you for them. Let me enter the places you have not allowed anyone to touch, for only then will the battle within you truly begin to turn from defeat to victory. This world sometimes does not need anything great to wear you down, only a few careless words, a few contemptuous glances, a few small comparisons are enough to make you feel smaller, fading, meaningless. People may wait for the day you collapse so they can have another story to talk about. They may use your stumble to justify their distorted judgments. But my child, while they wait for your failure, I stand there patiently, waiting for you to look up to me. When the world is ready to gloat over your pain, my spirit is the one who lifts your soul, whispering into the depths where you think only sighs remain. You are not abandoned. You still belong to me. I do not rejoice in your wounds. I do not delight in your exhaustion. Instead, every time you are hurt, I stand beside you, watching to see whether you will choose to trust my voice or the harsh conclusions of others. You see judging eyes, but I see a child who is about to let go. And I step forward, offering my hand, still patient, still gentle, still unchanged. When I tell you to be courageous, I am not demanding that you become someone who never feels fear. I am inviting you to believe that fear is no longer the master of your life. Courage in me is not the silencing of every emotion, but the willingness to place your trembling hand in mine and take one more step, even when you cannot yet see where the path will lead. I tell you that nothing can destroy you while you remain in my hand, not to deny that the world can hurt you, but to remind you that no unseen blade can touch what belongs to me within you. Your body may grow weary, your mind may whirl, your reputation may be misunderstood, but your soul, if it clings tightly to me, will never belong to darkness. Remember that what the world calls failure is often the school I use to make you steadier in spiritual battle. And every time you choose to trust my word more than what your eyes can see, you are truly stepping onto a new level in your journey of warfare. I urge you to hold my words close to your heart, not as a slogan on your lips, but as a quiet stream that waters your soul, especially as each day draws to a close. When you are about to surrender to sleep, I want the words I have sown in you that day to be the last thing to touch your mind, rather than anxious thoughts, comparisons, or self-accusation. For you are the one who needs to hear again and again that you are loved. You are not cast away. You are not worthless. You are not forgotten in the anonymous crowd. Every word I speak is not only for momentary comfort, but to nourish your soul, to heal each invisible scratch that even you struggle to name. When you let those words sink into every breath, they will begin to gather the scattered fragments within you, returning to you the peace the world has tried so many times to steal. And little by little, you will realize that the nights before sleep are no longer the hours when anxiety attacks you, but the moments when you rest in my arms. Not only will your mind grow calmer, but even the space around you will change when you invite me to reign. Your place may be simple, cramped, even marked by exhaustion and tears. Yet when you call upon me, when you choose to turn your heart toward me, that very place becomes holy ground. Not because the objects around you have changed, but because my presence renews the atmosphere you live in. I come not to turn your room into a palace, but to make it a refuge for your soul amid the unseen battlefield you face each day. When you speak aloud the words I have placed within you, when you whisper thanksgiving even while questions still remain, that space will slowly fill with a peace you cannot explain by reason. And within that atmosphere, many inner battles you thought you would never win will begin to feel lighter. I also want to open your eyes so you can see that your life is not surrounded only by people and circumstances you can touch and see. If I allowed you to look even once into the spiritual realm, you would be astonished to discover that all around you is an entire army that belongs to me, quietly carrying out the work of protecting you, moment by moment. Angels are not some distant story in a book. They are messengers and warriors I send to your side, stationed in places you would never think to look. When you step out onto the street, when you sit alone, when you feel as though no one remembers you, there are still eyes entrusted by me to watch over your soul, so that the unseen arrows of darkness cannot reach you beyond the authority I permit. You may still think you are only a small person in a sea of people, but in my eyes, you are one, surrounded by the safeguarding of heaven. If you believe this, your heart will tremble less at what the world is doing, because you will know you have a steadfast rear guard not from humanity, but from the eternal throne. My child, remember that every word I speak to you today is not meant merely to soothe you for a moment, but to equip you to keep walking in the battle I have begun within you. Each time you choose to return, choose to be still in me, choose to set your gaze again on spiritual truth instead of staring only at temporary scenes, you are standing in the right place as a warrior who belongs to me. You do not need to be perfect to be used. You only need to yield so I may shape you. You do not need to become numb to survive. You only need to let me be your source of strength. Tonight, tomorrow, and the days ahead will still bring trials, words, and looks that shake you. But remember, your true battle is not against people. It is the keeping of your heart anchored in me. And as long as you keep choosing to draw near to me, no unseen power can snatch you from my hand. For I have promised to be with you, to protect you, to lift you up, until you see the full victory I have appointed for your life from the beginning. Tonight, before you close your eyes, I want you to do one very small thing that will change much within you. Whisper to me, not with ornate words, only with sincerity, Lord. I hide myself in you. I seek refuge in your heart. You are my strength and my shelter. When you speak this, it is not because I need to hear it, but because your soul needs to be reminded that it is not abandoned in this life. Each night, when you turn off the lights and all the noise of the world falls silent, that is when you most easily feel small and fragile, yet it is also when I draw nearest to you, to hold the worries you dare not tell anyone. Do not let your mind merely replay the negative thoughts that weighed you down all day. Let your mouth speak trust. Even if it feels clumsy, I know you are covering me. That one simple sentence, repeated each night, will slowly redraw the image you carry of yourself, no longer someone left behind, but a child cherished in the arms of the one who stays awake for you, even if the whole world passes by you without so much as a glance. Remember that my eyes have not turned away from you for even a moment. When people look at you and see only your shortcomings, I look through every fault to see the child I formed with so many good intentions. I know the dreams you keep hidden, the desires you do not dare to speak for fear of being mocked. I even know the things you thought had died within you, yet still smolder, waiting for me to breathe on them again. I do not love a perfect, strong, flawless version of you. I love you right in the unfinished, stumbling, lacking places you carry day by day. My love does not change with your moods or your achievements. It is an unceasing stream even when you turn your back, even when you fall silent, even when you no longer have the strength to believe. And because I know you so well, I also know there will come a day when you are so tired of the old way of living that you will finally cry, I want to be different. I don't want to keep hurting myself anymore. A time will come when you look back at the habits, relationships, and choices that have quietly worn down your heart, and you will realize you cannot keep feeding those things and still expect peace. On that day, you will begin to bravely let go of what once made you dependent. Even if it felt familiar and safe, the habits that damage your body and mind, the thought patterns that always pull you down, the ways of living that lead you away from me, these will gradually fall from your life when you allow me to touch their roots. I do not ask you to save face. I want you to be free. I do not need you to pretend you're fine. I want you truly healed. The bonds that once swallowed you will lose their strength, not because you are so capable, but because you trust me enough to say, Lord, I need you to help me stop. Wherever you yield authority to me, chains will break one by one. You will learn again from the beginning something that seems simple. Yet you have forgotten for a long time how to value yourself the way I see you. I am not calling you to live selfishly, thinking only of yourself. But I also do not want you to trample your own soul and call it humility. When I taught you, love others as you love yourself, I set a vital foundation. You cannot truly love anyone if you have not learned to love yourself as my creation, worthy of care, tenderness, and protection. I want you to know how to rest when you are weary, how to say no to what destroys your soul, how to step away from places where your spirit is constantly wounded. I'm not pleased when you force yourself to look strong in an environment that is draining the life out of you. I rejoice when you heed my invitation, child. Come back to me, and I will give you rest. When you care for yourself in my light, that is not the sin of selfishness, it is obedience. Because you honor what I have made. A right understanding of yourself will not make you proud. On the contrary, it will make you gentler, more sensitive to the pain of others. When you begin to see your worth in my eyes, you will stop comparing yourself to anyone. You will no longer need to step on others to feel taller. You will be able to rejoice when others are lifted up, because you will know your value is not reduced simply because someone else is favored. You will be able to weep with those who weep without calling them a burden, because you yourself have been comforted by me in tears. Your heart will become softer, but not weaker. It will be strong in a very different way, strong enough not to live on approval, strong enough to forgive, strong enough to leave places that no longer belong to you. And in that very moment, you will realize I have been quietly changing you from the inside out. Gently, yet profoundly. I bless you not because you meet every standard, not because you are always right, always moral, always deserving. Every good gift I pour out flows from my mercy and my good purpose, not from a scorecard you present to me. I see clearly every time you have stumbled, every word you spoke and then regretted, every weakness you wanted to deny. Yet alongside that, I also see the good seeds within you, sincerity, a hunger to do what is right, the capacity to love even after you have been hurt. I hold both of these in view at once, and I choose not to abandon you, but to remain and patiently nurture what is good and heal what is broken. Your worth does not rise and fall with the number of your failures. It is secured by the price I paid for you on the cross. My grace is not a reward for the worthy, it is a gift for the one who dares to admit they are in need. So when blessing comes to you, a new opportunity, an open door, a wholesome relationship, an inner change, do not rush to think, I must not deserve this. No one deserves my love. Yet I give it because it is my nature. Train yourself instead to say, I thank you, Lord, for what you have given, rather than devaluing yourself or suspecting every good thing is a trap. I am not human. I do not give and then take back just to test your reaction. I want you to enjoy what I give with a grateful heart, and also to steward it with wisdom. When you receive blessing with humility and gratitude, that blessing will not pull you away from me. It will draw you closer to me. But when you refuse every good thing because of guilt, you unintentionally deny the very love I have set upon you. Now I want you to pause and speak with me, not through rigid rituals, but with your honest words. Do you truly believe that I am covering you? That I love you as I have just told you? Will you dare to believe that what I speak over you matters more than what the past has branded onto your life? I am not waiting for a perfect answer. I am only waiting for a heart that dares to say, Lord, I want to believe. Help me overcome the fears that still remain in me. You can speak it aloud. You can write it on paper. You can whisper it in the night. Only be truthful with me. When you write, each sentence becomes like the first footsteps of faith, helping you leave the land of insecurity and shame and step into the land of knowing you are, my child, loved, welcomed, guarded. I want to see in you not only words formed by the mind, but a heart gradually being filled with new hope. I want to see in you not a fleeting burst of enthusiasm, but a quiet conviction that you are no longer defined by failure or by the voices of the world. As you let my words sink little by little into your thoughts, emotions, and daily choices, you will realize you are slowly changing without having to strain. The positivity I desire for you is not forcing yourself to be happy or be strong, but a steady, deep peace, knowing that whatever season you pass through, I am still there, still holding your hand tightly. Let your heart become soil where faith grows day by day, unloud yet firm, unshowy yet deeply rooted. And then, one day, when you look back, you will realize the battle you thought you had to fight alone. I have been fighting with you all along, and I am the one who carried you from collapse to a place where you can stand upright, lift your head, and no longer fear any voice but mine. Now, my child, be still and quiet your soul. Bring your whole heart and every feeling before me in the most sincere prayer. Almighty God, today I come before you with a heart that has known fear and turmoil, yet is learning to rest in your embrace. I realize there have been countless times when you protected me without my knowing, delivered me from situations that could have broken me, yet I merely called it luck. Forgive my blindness, for I failed to see your hand silently redirecting every step, every decision, every path. Open the eyes of my faith, that I may know I am surrounded not only by the voices of men, but by angels who obey your command to fight on my behalf. When threats, slander, and accusations arise, help me remember that I am wrapped in your divine protection, and that no word can touch my soul unless you allow it. Teach me to stop reacting out of fear or weakness, but to look up and say, Lord, I believe you are fighting for me. Teach me to stand still in your peace. O Father, who sees into every secret place, there are battles within my mind and emotions that even I cannot name. I feel weary, quick to anger, easily wounded, and often tempted to let go. Though I pretend to be strong before others, please step into the deepest places of my heart where human words have left scars, where old memories still stir fear. Remind me that my true battle is not to win every argument, but to keep my heart anchored in your truth and love. Stop the thoughts that try to pull me away from you, and place a hedge of peace around my mind. When I'm tempted to act on emotion, let me first pause and ask, Father, what would you have me do so that my words and actions please you, rather than satisfy my wounded pride? Lord Jesus, who once walked through storms, you understand what it feels like to be misunderstood, judged, and falsely accused. I come to you carrying every moment I've been misread, misrepresented, and unfairly condemned wounds that still ache in my heart. Place your hand upon the sore places within me so I no longer live on guard, distrusting others, ready to defend myself. Grant me the peace this world cannot give, not peace because the storm is gone, but peace amid the storm, when I know you are still in the boat with me. When bad news comes, when harsh words echo, when circumstances tighten, help me lift my eyes to you before I look at the problem. Teach me to believe that a single word from you can calm every tempest raging in my mind. O God, today I pause simply to say thank you from the depths of my heart. I thank you for all those moments I thought were lucky escapes, but were in truth your unseen rescues times. You pulled me from the pit through small, unnoticed details. Thank you for the illnesses that did not take my life, the accidents that were averted, the dark schemes against me that unraveled before they could unfold. I confess I have often complained about what I lack, forgetting to give thanks for the disasters I never had to endure. Today, I bow before you, acknowledging that, without your protection, I would not be here to offer this gratitude. Let this thankfulness become my way of life, so that each day I may recognize the traces of your safeguarding presence over me. Beloved Father, I thank you for the mysterious peace you planted within me in moments I thought I would break. There are days when nothing around me changes, the storm still rages. The world's words still cut deep, yet within me arises a peace I know is not my own. It is the peace that comes from remembering you are here, seeing, hearing, and understanding all I endure. Thank you for teaching me not to measure peace by circumstances, but by your presence within them. Thank you for holding my tongue in moments of anger, keeping me from words I would regret. May my gratitude for this peace make me treasure even more the nearness of your presence in every small moment of my life. Lord Jesus, I thank you that my weakness never surprises you, that you do not turn away when I speak, act, or think wrongly. Instead, in my stumbles, you draw near not to excuse me, but to lift me up and teach me to stand firmer than before. Thank you that you never grow weary of me, though I so often let my heart be swayed by worldly noise. Thank you for patiently teaching me which battles are worth fighting, for showing me when silence is glory, and when speaking is necessary. Thank you that you not only saved my soul once and for all, but daily guard my mind from being swallowed by darkness. Let this gratitude bind me closer to you, hiding myself in your strength rather than striving in my own. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong and steadfast community of faith.
you.